Hey, can you hear me okay there, Glenn?
Yeah, I've got you, man. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Well,
a little hard of voice, but I'm okay.
we'll keep this short but sweet. I appreciate you taking the time. You're in the middle of an acclaimed tour of the States. How long was this tour in the works for? Was this a rescheduled tour or are these refreshed dates?
It is a rescheduled tour. Obviously, we were about, I think we were about a week from coming just before COVID hit the pandemic. So, I mean, we'd got visas and everything, and I think we were like 5 days off the flight, and then they were like, "Oh no, nobody's going anywhere."
So I'm glad it's
So,
happening. And when you
yeah,
came to the US in the 80s or 90s, the venue you're playing at this week in New York, Le Poisson Rouge, had you ever been there? I think
yeah.
it was called the Village Gate.
Um, I think I might have actually once, but I looked at pictures and I don't remember, but I thought I had. But I mean, it does look like I know exactly where it is. And in fact, I went and had a walk past it the other day when we arrived in New York. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a good gig.
Sure. Well, this tour features the lineup of you, Martin, Flo, Kelly, and I believe Rachel is the other great singer that you've got. It's a real,
That's right.
it's a great reinvention of the band. But what I'm curious is it the same set list when you play in the States as it is in England?
It is actually, yes. I mean, the last time um, Florence Sabiva is a kind of new addition because the keyboard player that's played with us for about the last 11 years, Berenice Scott, she was off on a world tour with Simple Minds. And because it was going to be okay, but because it got rescheduled, as indeed did their gigs, it meant that she couldn't come to the States with us. But Florence is doing an amazing job and has actually been playing with us in the UK now for about a year. So yeah, it's working out really, really well.
Well, the reason I ask about the set list is sometimes bands from the UK, the singles were different than they were in the States. So, for example, when I talked to members of OMD, here in the States, If You Leave was the big hit. And then there was just
Right.
one of the hits in the UK. So when they play in the US, they might do If You Leave two or three times in the set. In your case, were the hits the same between the US and the UK?
No, they weren't the same. In fact, Temptation, for instance, has never been released in America. It was never a single, which is crazy because it was like world apart the rest of the world, it was our biggest hit. But over here it was kind of Let Me Go and Sunset Now, Trouble, songs like that, Crushed by the Wheels of Industry, Come Live With Me was a hit. But so it is slightly different. But we did take note of that
Right.
and purposely did it, yeah.
But ultimately, I think it's very impressive how Heaven 17 had lots of success in the 80s, lots of success in the 90s. You and your bandmates all found success out of the band. Then you came back, had success again. So at this point in time, it's like 40 years of being super successful at this point in time. So is there a biggest accomplishment that you're proud of at this point?
I think it's the fact that Martin and I are still talking after 40 years of working together.
I get that. Was there ever band therapy? I mean, Bon Jovi did band therapy, Metallica did band therapy. Was there Heaven 17 band therapy?
No, we've always been good friends. We've actually been friends for 50 years, Martin and I, even before Heaven 17. So, and it's really weird. The only time we ever argue is either in the studio or on stage. It's really true because it's kind of creatively, we might bump heads, but then we kind of go and have a drink together in a bar, and it's never even mentioned again. It's fine. It's just a question of I mean, it's quite funny sometimes. We do actually argue on stage live, and it's like, no, I don't want to do that one. No, I want to do this one. Yeah, we did that last night. I want to do something else. It's really, there's always a very good engagement between the band and their audience. It's exciting.
And the band spouses get along as well, because sometimes that's what breaks up the band.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. we don't actually mix an enormous amount out of the band, but everybody gets on fine. They're all fine. There's been no worries at all.
Another cool thing about you specifically is you had a home studio before most people knew how to do it. Like most people seem to have learned, okay, I can just set up a computer, buy a couple $100 of software, I have a home studio. But didn't you have a home studio in the early 90s?
Yeah, I did. I'm trying to think which album we recorded. We've always, all three of us, both Ian and Martin and myself, we all had kind of studios. And what we realized that the most money we were spending, because of the way we worked, actually, we wrote in studios. We kind of wrote songs together in the studio, and that might take kind of, for an album, that would be a period of kind of 3 or 4 months, and you're paying so much money for the studios. So right. we decided to do exactly that, to kind of make it work and build studios of our own and do it there. In fact, Midge Ure did it as well. Midge had his own studio, and it worked. I recorded a couple of things in his studio with him, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the way to go.
I had the pleasure of interviewing Midge a couple of months ago, and he did something on his Zoom interview I've never seen anyone do, which is he was changing the camera angles of his conversation. So he was pressing buttons, and while you're talking to him, it was going to side angles and all that. So
yeah, I've seen him do that. Yeah.
So obviously you've worked with the best, you've learned from the best. Well, after this tour wraps, are you allowed to say what's coming next for you?
Well, what is coming next is we've got to do a German European tour, because that got cancelled as well. So we'll be doing that when we get home. I'm working on a new Netflix series. I write music for film and television as well. So I'm working on a new Netflix series. There was a program that I think was over here as well, called Vigil, which was about, I did all the music for that. And the second series of that is just about to start shooting. So I'll be doing that. So I'll be very much, when I get home, I'll be very much in the dark, in the studio with 2 massive screens, just writing music to film and pictures. But I love doing that as well so much. So it's great.
Wow. Well, the last question I have for you before I let you go, you mentioned Netflix. Every time my wife and I start watching a new TV show, we go through the whole season in 3 days and we go, what's next? Do you have a TV recommendation for us?
Wow, that's a good one. Do you know, I haven't said, I'd have to go and have a look on what's on my things. I tend to work, because I work so much doing a lot of TV, I don't actually watch a lot of TV. We don't have a television at home. We haven't had a television for about 12 years now in our apartment. So if I want to go and watch something, I have to deliberately go and make the decision to go and sit down somewhere and find it on a computer and watch it. So I don't really watch a lot of TV.
Interesting. Well, Glenn, thank you for your time. Looking forward to the next show in New York, and best of luck to you and team.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure my voice will be all right by tomorrow.
You sound fine. Keep it up, man. Take care.
Cheers, dude. Thank you.
Paltrocast.